Whenever lawmakers try to tackle out-of-control medical assistance spending, they face an uphill battle. Many people believe the choice is between keeping everything exactly the way it is, or, they say, let Republicans gut the programs. In the Joint Finance Committee on Tuesday, Democrats claimed it is not necessary to make any changes to medical assistance. Republicans argued they want to merely scale back spending to ensure those most in need receive the benefits they were promised.
But the motion that you're offering, which is to say continue to do everything the way we've always done it, regardless of the cost, might seem to you like it's somewhat generous, but to the real world, when you have to figure out how to pay for it, means we got to cut somebody else to pay for it. And I'm not willing to do that until we have a better handle on how we can make the program sustainable for the long run, not just how we can make somebody seem like they're doing fine because we bury our head in the sand and say we don't care about the cost. We only care about expanding access.
In the past year, MA spending in Wisconsin has gone $500 million over budget. Plus, this summer, the federal government will cut support for the program by $500 million. Meanwhile, enrollment in the state's Badger Care programs continues to skyrocket. 1 out of every 5 Wisconsinites receives medical benefits from the state. Plus, a recent state audit of Badger Care Basic found monthly premiums are not enough to cover services and administration. The programs are serving people not enrolled in them, and DHS has been doing little to ensure the people in the programs actually qualify for them.
In the past, the only avenue that was really left was rate reductions. They called it rate reform, if you remember. So what they said is we're going to add a whole bunch more people in, and we're going to just cut all of the providers and say they'll just have to eat it. That is clearly not the intent of Governor Walker. I've had conversations with him about it. It is clearly not the intent of this committee. We do not think the answer to solving the Medicaid problem is to just chip away at how much we're paying those who choose to provide the service. That's the wrong answer, which is why we're hoping that the administration is going to be able to be innovative, and they are going to be able to find ways that do not jeopardize the services that we provide to so many of our citizens by reducing the amount of reimbursement to all those people who are brave enough to take on all these citizens who need the services for below their cost.
To tackle these problems, Governor Walker's budget proposal gives DHS Secretary Dennis Smith broad flexibility to restructure his agency.
To bring greater innovation to the programs themselves, focusing on people with very high cost needs who would benefit the most from coordinating their care, for example, but they're out there in the fee-for-service world and they're really not having their care coordinated. Very high cost individuals that will benefit from greater coordination and focusing on those individuals.
The Joint Finance Committee added oversight, requiring Smith to report any changes to them. For long-term care or family care, the committee voted to cap enrollment at the end of June, hoping to preserve the program's sustainability for those already enrolled.
I look at where we are with family care, and if you go back and you say to yourself, it is a good program. I understand why it's there. Nobody wants people to go into a nursing home. I mean, that's not the problem. The problem is that we had a program that 5 years ago cost us about $250 million, $250 million, and now we're at $1.4 billion. The program is growing exponentially, which is why we have asked, I think through Governor Walker's budget, to say we need to put a hold. We need to figure out how we're going to be able to sustain this program for the long run. So we do not have to get to the point of cutting people off. We don't want to do that. I think what we want to do is to have a reasoned approach which says sometimes you have to pause and say we're going to figure out how to take care of those who are already inside the system before we add more and more and more people into one that I would argue is broken.
Finally, in an attempt to dull any impact to senior care, the committee voted to restore an extra $100 million to the program. The Joint Finance Committee hopes to wrap up its work on the budget next week, and then the debate will move to the Assembly and Senate floors. For the MacIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmulski.